What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Broc.
I'm Mike.
I'm Broc, and once again, we're joined by the tournament master himself, Todd Joerchel.
Hey guys, where's Jeff? Where did he go? I know he's sometimes Jeff, but there's
He,
no Jeff today.
we don't know. He might pop in.
He just floats in once in a while. All right, that's fair
Yeah.
enough.
When you have 12 kids,
This is true. This
He
is
just
very
has a
true.
basketball team.
Yeah.
I just keep adding more every time.
I know. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Looking forward to it.
Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Monad, the ultimate cosmic force, and the Draconian Sheik.
Two of Brian Bendis's knockout artwork here. Heavy on the
Especially,
saddle.
this is the best.
Little weird shadowy, but you get the gist. Well, that's a special edition one. That's not the original one, too. I know there was
Right.
another one too, which was maybe a little more defined than that one. I don't know.
So yeah, this is his last card. So this is when he's on his way out, basically.
Hmm.
So he got a significant downgrade, I think, from his last card to this one, but still pretty interesting. He's an offensive machine.
I was thinking, I believe he might have been. Was he the first one to have four level 3 moves on level 2 offense?
I believe
Yep.
so.
I think he was. Yeah.
Is there another person that has it?
There's a couple that do. I know.
Oh, what's the fast guy's name? He had it. The
Yeah.
speedster. Oh,
Yeah, he had it. I think didn't one of the I don't know, I feel like one of the guys from Black Death had that too. I could be wrong. Maybe one of like the Bex cards or something like that.
I think so.
And yeah, there's a handful of times that they've been there, but that was the first one, and everyone's like, "Oh man, no one's gonna be able to stop him." And then they realized, his defense wasn't quite as strong there. Especially they threw down the pin rating was a little high because you had to pin two of his shoulders to the mat, and he had four shoulders, so that kind of
Hmm.
backfired on old Doomsayer there.
It went,
Although in
went,
cage matches, look out. That
yeah,
was that. Yeah, that was. I think he's a little better in cage
he
matches.
has a cage rating of 5, so yeah, slightly better
Um,
from his
Slightly
nine
better, but no.
six.
Yeah, maybe not as good as it could have been there, but
Yeah, if he strikes first though, he could probably take somebody out quickly.
I think his
Also,
first card though didn't that had a little bit of a lower pin rating, at
Yeah,
least the
it
cage
did.
rating and
I think
stuff.
it was
Yeah,
7-4. I don't
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
I wish I had that handy.
Like could always look in trusty COTG online for
There
you
you
guys
go.
here and say look it up there.
well, since we're talking about him, well, we'll just stick with Monad and start with him.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's good.
So I know Brock, he didn't really use him.
No, this is unfortunately during my dark period of just trying to play to catch up, which I still regret. But what
Yeah,
kind
man,
of
definitely you brought matter and antimatter together, and they were such a strong team. You figure bringing together as one guy, it's going to be this, you know, huge impact guy. I mean, he did okay. I think he even won my interplanetary title before, but just never quite hit the heights of what you thought combining the cosmic forces together would do. Like, 2 plus 2 kind of equaled 3 here, or maybe
yeah,
maybe two and a half.
that's a good way to put it. But
I
looking at
was
this card though, he should be a monster just because of the offense, but I guess it's that 9-6 pin.
That 9-6 pin. I think let me tell I'm trying to pull up the rest of his stats here. I remember some of the other defenses didn't quite all go his way here too. And so
like
let
his
me
agility sucks. His
+4
power is not
agility,
overly
plus
strong.
4 agility. Yeah.
-1 power. So
Yeah.
he's getting countered a lot.
But he did have the W. Had the double finishers there. He had yeah, he had
And his double plus finishers, not just
double
zeros.
plus finishers, correct. Um, his chart ratings are not great. At least I'm looking at the first one here. It is C on ropes and a B on the rest. So you could turn him around a little bit there. Okay, his original card, his cage rating was 2. I thought I remember his cage rating being
Okay.
pretty good. So his original card, his cage rating was 2, and his pin was 9.6.
Wow.
So that was like I think the biggest discrepancy we've ever had between cage and
I
pin
wonder if
rating
that
right
was a
there.
typo.
I don't know. I mean, that was the whole thing. It was like you didn't have to be pinned in a cage match, so
That's
that he
true.
was still doing okay with cage matches. If I remember
That makes
right.
sense
Yeah,
now that you say it that way. Yeah.
yeah. And then I know he was in a couple tag teams and stuff there too, where you can kind of maybe hide him out. He did have some tags still on his card too, like in all levels. So he
Hmm.
could get out of some trouble here or there. Um, He had a couple turnarounds. I mean, his defense isn't awful. It's just it's really that pin rating and his charts really were his weakness there.
Hmm.
And actually had three. He actually had three agility turnarounds on his first card too.
Oh,
Two on
wow.
level one, and then the one on level two offense number one. So that hurts him too. Yeah, getting
Yeah. He can't do much on level one then at all.
yeah. His level one's kind of useless. Level two is good, but if you get that number one, the opponent takes right over.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
How did he do for you? Do you know? You remember?
I remember, yeah, I remember I'm pretty sure he won the interplanetary title one time for me. I know he won a tag title or at least interplanetary tag title with one of his tag partners there. I think I did like putting him and Nth Degree together as a tag team where you had the Nth Degree was the Pollux who I guess took on the extra head that was left over from antimatter and antimatter. I don't know
Yeah.
where the extra head came from, but
Makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah, maybe left over the Transvalar from that, and
Kind of
just
looks
jumped
like
on
one
the
of
Nth
them.
Degree. Yeah, why not? But yeah, yeah. I mean, it did a little bit of stuff, but never a world beater there at all. Um, for me, how did he do for you, Mike?
Um, he actually didn't do much until this year. So he was, he came in at 2099. I'm only at 2102.
Mhm.
And actually no, I'm in 2105. Yeah. So he's actually only captured one title, and it's just recently, and it's because I have three feds, and it's my NGA heavyweight championship. He just captured it. But I put him in I because his first card, he was getting pinned all the time.
Yeah.
He could be reversed easy because everybody's got into the ropes with that C ropes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so he would do okay against some people, but in specialty matches he did much better.
Yeah.
But just in regular, so he'd win his feuds, but he'd lose like a lot of regular matches.
Hmm.
And when I put him in a lot of tag teams because I figure somebody else can start on level one and he takes over on level two and three.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. I am just looking at his second card here, which they got rid of the agility turnaround on level one offense. I will say that if you get this guy into a torture chamber match,
Oh yeah.
you can't get him off a level two offense
Yeah.
very easily
It's.
because every single move is a level three move in a
Hmm.
torture chamber. Two charts and four level threes. That's pretty tough. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a perfect guy for that.
Yeah, I would see for him to be formed, and we talked about this earlier with his first card. I was extremely disappointed because Cosmic Forces, like a lot of people, that was one of the best tag teams ever. So
Mhm.
many people liked that because it was just something new, completely different. Cosmic Forces never won my main tag title, but they were a dominant tag team on my Intergalaxian scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. Same here. Yeah. You expected a lot bringing those together. Just didn't do it.
Yeah. And like you, I do have plans for, Monad and Ninth Degree to become a tag team. But with the ninth degree for me, I have two Pollux cards because I was in Jamestown and somebody didn't want their Pollux and they didn't like them. They didn't like jobbers, and so they were just going to throw them out. And I'm like, I'll take them. And so I ended up with two Pollux, and I make them a tag team as Pollux one and Pollux two, and they're a jobber tag team.
Nice.
And so they're a horrible tag team, but I'm going to have them enter the Transevolver together, and that's how we get ninth degree with the two heads.
Perfect. Perfect.
I like the idea that it's antimatter or matter's head instead.
Yes.
Just,
I
just,
always thought it was so weird. Yeah. Like, what happened to his head? And why does he have an extra one? I just,
it's just sitting in there waiting for somebody to pick it up.
yeah.
It's too
Along with
funny.
two other legs, or
Yeah.
but for me he's a interesting guy to use just because of his you know he's got that Street Fighter thing going for him. The big guy from uh I can't remember his name. He was the first real big four-armed monster.
Oh, Goro, right? Wasn't
Mortal
that?
Yeah.
Kombat from Goro. Goro from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Okay, Mortal Kombat. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he was like the first big guy, that more people were familiar with. Like, yeah, I was familiar with the guy from John Carter, Warlord of Mars. John
Hmm.
Carter's right-hand man had four arms. The whole species did. And
There's that
so,
X-Men villain named Forearm.
Really creative name there,
Yeah,
Stan.
I think it was a Rob Liefeld thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
could, I'm not sure, but either way, but it's spelled like the forearm, not
Right.
clever.
but yeah, he was always an interesting guy. Um, Normally we look. I have the book here, and Jeff does our dramatic readings. And for him, I don't think, yeah, he's got quite a bit. And but yeah, I do read it, and then he's like, yeah, he gets banished in 2115 because he loses to Malice and Overkill.
Oh, yeah, because they had the sudden death 2114 feud there. Yeah. Yeah.
He did feud a lot of tough guys like Rack and Ruin, and with Desolation Factor, and
Yeah.
He
so
had a pretty long run with this card.
yeah.
I got the second card there. What was 2104?
Yeah, so 10
2104,
years.
and left it all, listed all the way till 2114. Yeah. Had a little bit of time I guess he was part of the CPC for a little bit before it
Hmm.
split off into its own group.
Yeah, 2104 to 2108, he was in the CPC.
Yeah.
And he joined like the Code Destroyers and Transevolver and the Out Group, which is probably a horrible name.
Oh yeah.
The Out Group. Desperate Measures. Yeah, that's another bad name for a bad guy tag team, or bad guy group. Yeah, we're losing all the time, so we're just Desperate Measures.
Whatever it takes.
And I had him much bigger. Like, he's only listed at 6'4", 318 pounds. I had him at 6'9" because I figured the extra backspace
For
would
the
make him
arms.
taller.
Fair. Otherwise, those arms would be pretty low. Yeah, you're right.
He'd be dragging him on the ground. So it's not uh so for him, I'd like him. Like, normally we do a power creep. So we go, how would you power creep this guy, make him a little bit better? And the obvious one would just be to that pin.
If I
Yeah.
remember right, they actually, in CPC, they made it so his pin was lower because you had to get all four of his shoulders down when you're
Ah,
fighting
okay.
in the CPC, if I remember right. So
Okay.
he was much more of a contender there because it did lower this pin rating.
Well, we did talk about that, and it's something I was going to bring up later on when card designs.
Hmm.
We talked about if you guys made cards for referees, how would you go about doing a bad guy referee card? And we brought up Monad. Would Monad's pin now be a 3 because like I'm not familiar with the CPC. I'm not there yet.
You're getting there, Mike. You're slowly getting there.
Yeah.
Actually, you're going to be there pretty soon. You said you're
Yeah, next
2104
year.
now?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be there next
2105.
year.
I'm in 2105.
Oh, so they just opened the CBC then. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Technically, I have the CPC open. It's in my bottom tier fed.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I don't follow that pesky storyline, so I'm always surprised.
Yeah. But
Like,
yeah, I think that was the kind of the thing they did, in the CPC arenas that was kind of written in. So I think I did go with that. He was a little bit stronger. So I think maybe he did like win like the CPC interplanetary title back, when, we had as many titles in GWF and CPC as they have in AEW and Ring of Honor now,
Right. Not quite that many, but
Maybe not quite that many.
his card definitely can win some.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like when he gets that offense rolling.
Oh yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, if you can keep him on offense, it's great. Once you get that turnaround, then he might not get back. So
Mhm.
And you'd figure he'd be stronger than the -1, but maybe he's got some back issues because he's got such a weird back and shoulder thing.
It's all in part. I think it's all balance. That's probably the only reason. He'd be unstoppable if he didn't have that.
yeah,
Be a good attraction character to still use.
oh
Today,
sure.
even today, he could get those wins against some of the bigger guys here and there.
Yep.
He
But
is the ultimate cosmic force.
he's one guy I wanted to see go back in the Transvolver and bring the cosmic forces back.
Right.
One of them will be missing a head, though.
That's something we can do it back. We can bring them back, and they didn't age. Just reverse it. Why not? Other people have reversed it.
Hmm.
Bring the
Sure.
cosmic forces back.
Let's do it.
They're aliens. They're made of energy. You don't know how they age.
Hmm.
But they do have a somewhat of a comeback in Future Shock there, and a little bit of a different twist. But somewhat brought back into one of the timelines there, which was nice.
Oh, that's good. So we can switch over to the Draconian Sheik,
There he
based on
is.
real life wrestler the Sheik because he was one of Tom's favorites.
Hmm.
I,
This guy was
I
from
when I got the original Draconian Sheik, I had never heard of the Sheik because I,
oh
I just didn't grow up, within that era. I had no idea who it was based on. So learning later on, I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
I saw him wrestle. He wrestled in a match versus Crazy Chris Colt, which was an absolute mess of a match. Like they were throwing fireballs into the crowd and battling through the crowd. And you're I think it was 12 or 13 years old, running for your life. These two guys were absolute maniacs. I don't know. Some people who are, might know who Chris Colt is, but yeah, he was an early hardcore guy. So him and Sheik just were bloodbath battles.
And Draconian Sheik, you always had some bloodbaths there.
Oh yeah,
Had always had the add one going on level two offense. I think most versions of the card and high disqualification. So a lot of times didn't even get to a finish with the Sheik.
yeah.
Are we mostly just talking about the 2104 card there, the special edition, or kind of any of the versions there?
Well,
Okay.
you can talk about any of them, but we're just talking. We're also just introducing this one now because it's the spotlight. But yeah, if he
Gotcha.
did great stuff for you before, this is your first time talking about him. Yeah, you can talk about him.
Okay.
Like he's been around a long time for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years.
Yeah, this is his
Mhm.
third card too. And he has one more.
He does.
He's had some great battles.
Yeah, I
When he
think he's
first come in, I'm like, he's got to fight Splatter or Mayhem.
right, of course, yes. Yeah, I think I remember him just being tons of bloodbath. I don't really remember him winning many titles. I mean, because he would just get himself disqualified, but he was always fun to put into any type of like special match tournament or, some type of thing, some type of, feud match. It was always fun to have him.
No, no, I rank my wrestlers 1 through 4, 1 through 5, and I only have one 5 level wrestler that's Chaos. Everybody else is, fours or 1 through 4. So this Draconian Cheek's always been a 2, just because of how he ranks. I don't know how where Lord Rawl ranked him in the Rawl ratings.
27-27 on this card. He actually, his last card is the strongest card, 28-29. It comes
Yeah,
out
so
in
he, that's
21-12.
that's for me that's a level 2 guy, and he captured the Galaxian title 3 times, and then he got sent to the low tier Fed, and he literally hasn't done anything down there.
Hmm.
He just can't get a like a win streak rolling. All right, but he did feud Sledge End, and he beat him.
Well, that's got to be a yeah, definitely a hard hitting affair right there. I mean, Legend definitely had a high DQ and lots of bad ones and stuff too. So
Well, that's why they kind of got paired up against each other.
yeah,
Now
that's
with this
great.
Draconian Sheik, same as always. He didn't, he doesn't. He's not the greatest fighter. He knows, he doesn't win a lot. But I also make him so, he doesn't back down against anybody.
Let's see. It looks like this one here. Yeah, again, not his strongest card. I know his last one only had like one down on it. This one here, low pin rating. Um, dazed on level 2. So I mean, pretty decent defense. Not the strongest offense. Had that add one, which definitely helped. Just a +1 finisher. So never was able to really put people away, but always would, just be in the match. I think.
Mhm. He'll bring a fight out of everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's what I think the thing was behind him. Like the original
Hmm.
Sheik,
Yep.
because he booked himself to never lose.
Right. Yeah.
But this Sheik, he's probably lost as much as he has won on his feuds.
Mhm.
But it's interesting because on the back I keep track of. So he's injured people for a total of 19 cards, and he's been injured for a total of 16 cards.
Oh,
He can take it as well as he dishes it out, I
I
guess.
guess.
And
So
he's
so
one of
Mike. Okay.
I was and he's one of the few guys he's never had a face turn. He's always been heel for me nonstop.
Kind of a hard guy to make a face. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right?
right.
I mean, we could tweener maybe, but being a baby face is a little tough. Yeah. So, Mike, did you get the original Draconian Sheik card when it first came out
oh
in
yeah,
the order? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I got that, and that's when he first come in, and that card was not very good.
Yeah. I
That's
definitely got
probably why he
upgrades after
lost
that.
to Splatter in the feud.
Yeah.
Splatter just beat the living crap out of him. So he's done, like I said, he's done pretty good. And that was it. That was the original Splatter card, not the updated one, because that one just would have killed him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That last one was much better.
Yeah, this was the first Splatter card, so I thought they matched up well because Splatter was like the original nut job anyway.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I had them go at it, and I put him in against Mayhem, and I put him in against Wolf. back when I just had the one fed just to see how things turned out. And
Yeah.
odds are he lost them the matches, but they got done just for my amusement really. He's
Yeah,
crazy. Challenge people.
yeah, I have to dig through and see if I find my results just to see like if he really did much of anything. I didn't keep a very good track of my title history after like the first couple of years. I did always have champions, but I didn't always keep a book of that to see what what he did, if anything there. But I know he fought everybody. That was always the thing. Yeah, just like you just throw him in some type of a hardcore match just to have fun, or maybe put over one of the big guys too. Like again, like a Wolf or Mayhem or someone like that. It was always fun guy to put in there with them. And I said, like, I know this one here, this card also had the terrorists
Yeah.
Yep.
chart. I was gonna take a look and see. I forget what was on that one. I think they would like what they would distract the ref and everything like that. Let me see what all happened with that.
And weren't the terrorists Genghis Khan and Mitsuko?
They were, yes.
Yeah, they might
He
have
said
been.
instead of outside interference, when the terrorists attempt to interfere, use this match involving the Draconian Sheik. Yeah, so it was an outside interference chart,
I think
and
it
they
might
had
have
a
been the
distractor
first.
rating of 8. The
Yeah.
first interference chart?
I
For the
can't think of.
GWF, yeah, because the first manager card to have a back was in the NGO when I created Corbin. When I created the ring.
To have like some type of non wrestling stats on the back.
Yeah, he was the first one,
Hmm.
and then the managers started to appear on it because people thought it was a good idea.
It is fun.
It gives them more to do other than a distractor rating and forced to being wrestle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you don't want them to wrestle, they just had a blank card. You can individualize them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm looking through the rest here. I think this might have been the first one. Because everyone there was definitely want someone with wrestling stats, but I don't believe they were an interference chart.
Yeah, it's probably was for the game, like the official game card. It probably was the first one.
I think it is. Yeah, it didn't even occur to me there. Yep.
Good catch, Broc.
Hey, that's why I'm
Yes.
here.
There you go. That's why he's here. Yeah. Excellent. That's why he's the host there. There you go. There's a terrorist there. Perfect.
And there's the chart.
There you go.
Never even realized that one. And but we'll switch topics. And one of the reasons we asked you to come on because we had questions about cards and how they get formed and created, and you said you could help us the best you could.
I could, yeah, best I could. I mean, it depends on exactly what. So, like, and obviously, I'm not doing anything right now. Right now, I'm in, I don't know, somewhat. I'm in retirement right now. Who knows? It's wrestling. Retirements can
Hmm.
always end at any time. But yeah. So, yeah, I think in a lot of my time with working with the game, yeah, I did a lot with project management with the different sets. Kind of getting everything kind of all the different pieces together because it's not just writing up stats and creating art. There's a whole bunch more that kind of goes into the process there. I have done some stats. I usually choose not to do many wrestling stats unless it's like a special occasion. Like, Rob had, like I won the promoter madness spot. Rob's like, you got to do, an actual wrestling card. I'm like, all right, it's just always dreaded that because it was always like I put so much thought into it. I know so many people do so many different cards, and I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. So like level one's got to be moves when you're actually standing up. Level two is when you're trying to take the down, and level three is when you're trying to, guys down and you're trying to, put them away, and just really kind of thought a lot about, what types of moves are in there and what kind of work together, the mechanics of that. So like when the couple I've done has been, I put a lot of thought into that, which I don't feel I'm as good at that, but I'm okay with it. And I did do stats also for all the old wrestling cards. That was on the indie side. That was the one product line where I always did all the stats for that. So I combed through all the footage and figured out what moves there was. There wasn't a ton of footage there, so it was somewhat easy
That'd be
there. I mean,
hard.
pretty basic moves there, but yeah, I had, yeah, at some, and I sometimes would use like footage from the guys from non old wrestling uh, shows as well, and tried to didn't have any real fancy names and stuff like that, but I have done some of those stats. And then the one area that I always specialized in with stat creation was the non wrestling cards. So when it came to things, sometimes managers or those are basic, but they came, weird things like ring announcer card or commissioner card, type of things.
Hmm.
Or even something that's completely different. So like, one of my favorites I ever came up with was, and played a little bit off of kind of some talks with Mike about it too. But the whole concept of the Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon studio TV card, because we were trying to think like what to do with that. And it was like, oh, well, I my favorite from them was always primetime wrestling. So, all right, how do you do that? And we kind of came in with a whole thing of, how to introduce, as part of a bigger pack, or part of it was a small pack, but it had like a ring and backstage interview or a ring announcer and referees. And so I incorporated different things with that into it to make sure it worked with the rest of the set, as well as kind of what were some of the things that happened on primetime wrestling. Like the match would start in progress. So, all right, we wanted to do that type of role and things like that. So you're trying to think like, all right, what are some of the things that can really happen and how do you kind of make stats out of it? I kind of like that creative part rather than just the straight up just wrestling stats. So it's like, all right, how do all these other things that happen in the wrestling world get translated into stats?
That's
Um,
awesome.
so I always enjoyed that, the challenge of that.
We need
Um,
more of that kind of stuff, I think.
yeah, I mean, not everybody goes with that, and I realized, it's like sometimes some others are like, oh, that's really cool, and people don't use it. But I mean, it's all part of wrestling is all these other different components. So I
Right.
I enjoy that, and some people do like it. And there's not as much of a variety of those other kind of ringside personnel type things. So that's definitely been a big focus of mine.
Yeah, like we
Very cool.
talked about briefly about if you guys ever thought of making for the GWF side referee cards
Yeah,
where you could have the good guy referee, a couple average middling referees.
yeah,
You have another referee that's the bad guy ref
hmm,
where all the bad guy pins drop by two and their DQs go down and the heroes their DQs go up. He gives fast counts to the bad guys, so the good guys' pins could go up by one or two,
yeah,
and then you could have the rules guy where the bad guys their DQs are going up by a couple, and
yeah.
ring
That's kind of the
rating.
concept that we did with the Legends one, where we had all the different types there, and I
Yeah,
think that was even based on. I did one for the GWFZ territory set. We had the three referees on there. I think there was like a female referee that was kind of tough. There was a robot referee that was very much by the rules, and whatnot.
Hmm.
Is very very strict.
Yeah.
And then there was our favorite Brick Planetsburg, which was a playoff of Bryce Remsburg. So yeah, and kind of he was kind of a little bit more on the wacky side there. But yeah, I like that. I think I agree there should be more of that. It'd be cool to do like a GWF ringside personnel with all those things. Yeah, I think even calling back to the exact same thing we did on the Legends side, like have a new backstage interviewer or have a the fleet of referees, have the in-ring announcer, and then have some type of other like um ringside, like announcer card. Like I did one before. I was the one who did the Dragon Master and Vanity card in one of my first bootleg sets, and then that later on became the official duo in the GWF after that. But there was never an official TV announcer card, but I had the concept behind that, and I always love doing those things, and I think there's a spot for them. I'm sure it could be talked into helping out with something like that if that ever came about. So
Nice.
How
You heard
much
it
of an
here first.
input? Yeah, I was saying, how much of an input do you guys have when you come up with an idea? Like, does Tom get on board with a lot of them, or does he just like, no?
I mean, it depends. I mean, if it's for GWF, he's very protective of GWF, and so
Yeah,
he's doing everything there. If it's other stuff, outside of that, and obviously indies and legends, there's a lot more, say and like, the what would go into one of those sets there. Just as long as it made sense and whatnot. Yeah, I think there's a lot more flexibility and what goes into those.
yeah. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, I know Tom gets very protective of the GWF,
Mhm.
and because he's told me that, but before, and I've had a chat with Mark one time, and Mark was like, yeah, when he was doing his what was Mark's Fed called? Was it the
The
CPC?
CPC? Yeah.
Yeah, when he was doing that, uh, guys couldn't be tougher than some of the GWF guys.
Oh yeah, I remember I won the Canada Cup with the Stigma one year, and like Tom was not happy about that. That's a Stigma from the CBC won the Canada Cup. He's like, oh, he's too strong. I'm like, no, he just had a great run. You never know how
But Tom had that with Jimmy Snuka won a Canada Cup once because I did a Legends bracket,
yeah.
and he was mad because he's a legend. He shouldn't be fighting these guys in.
Oh,
It's
and yeah, when
oh
Steve Williams beat Monolith,
yeah.
when Kevin Butcher did that, that was thing of legend right there. The first one, the Monolith killer there. He was not thrilled about that one either.
No,
Um,
it's funny watching his reaction to some of those things. Like the CPC guys winning, and so I know he got very protective of it.
yeah,
And then you have things like different branches, like they went off into Cronus,
yeah,
where everybody's just insanely strong.
yeah,
And, excuse me, and your matches are done and over with quicker because everybody's strong. And
yeah,
that's a neat idea where everybody just enters in their prime
right.
from all over the world, like universe and multiverse. And then you had your feeder system, your FTR.
Yeah. I enjoyed that because I always liked doing a lot of like the lower guys, and yeah, I really like doing all the FTR involved with that. Like working a lot with the lower tier guys and some of the more comedy angles and things like that. So it's definitely a lot of fun, kind of working with those characters there for a little bit. So I definitely enjoyed that on the champion side. Um, Again, working with Sam was good with that too because I think we kind of brought different aspects of it. I think there's a lot more in the storyline. I can kind of help with the structure and things like that, kind of like big picture. I have a real hard time with like figuring out the right dialogue and things like that. So when it came to writing champions, that was definitely the thing that was intimidating to me. was
Yeah,
writing
dialogue.
out all the dialogue and stuff like that. I'm like, I can kind of do some of the stats a little bit, but that part is tough for me. But I can kind of get like is guys get very good at storyboarding and kind of get the basic ideas, but all those little details is pretty tough. And so the indie sets and the legend sets, you didn't have to necessarily worry about that as much.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody had their own little niche
Yes.
that they did. Like, you have the four legends guys, and then
Hmm.
you just have somebody like Mike was their overview guy, I guess. Where,
Yeah.
'cause they mentioned that, yeah, they got to run things through Mike before they do it. So I figured Mike was the guy that, kind of takes care of that end because Tom's not letting anybody touch the GWF stuff, and all the
Yeah.
other sets have slowly been phased out
Yeah.
at the moment.
Unfortunately, hopefully Future Shock will make its way back in there, though. I always enjoyed Future Shock. So, but yeah, no, even the legends, like I would get a little bit involved there too. Obviously, when it came to like doing a non-wrestling card, I'd usually have some input there because I remember the first version of the Teddy Long card was not fantastic. I'm like, all right, let me jump in here. I gotta, they didn't even have anything that like hinted at, making a tag team match or,
That was a
having
shtick.
yeah, that was a shtick. I'm like, how do you not have it making a tag team match? That's like, that's the number one Teddy Long thing. But yeah, I helped out a little bit with that, and and obviously, and the other times too when we had other ones, even on the champion side, we were coming up with some of the stats for some of the managers there for the reimagined set. The Legends guys would jump in with some cool ideas too. So it was a little give and take on those side there. But even on the Legends side, I would help a little bit with some of the art direction on some of the Legends. I'd help pick out a couple of different pictures for the team to choose. So I would go through research and get a bunch of photo references together. Obviously, we don't have to worry about backgrounds on the Legends side, but actually, I came up with the idea for the Legends background. Like we were trying to figure out with the first time, what we were gonna do for everybody. I'm like, maybe we just have like a standard background that kind of looks like it's an old wrestling magazine. It just kind of stuck from there. So, but yeah, I would usually kind of come up with that type of stuff and kind of like, or have ideas of like, okay, maybe we use this picture here, but then can we get this piece of outfit from another one on there to, so, and Warner was pretty good at adapting that. I mean, a couple times he had some difficulties, and obviously some of the pictures that were, a lot more grainy were tougher to get real crisp art out of, but he's done a great job, pulling a couple of those to the different things together. And on the indie side, I definitely did, you know, all the art direction on that for years, ever since when Rob kind of handed that over up until when I handed it over to Zeke earlier this year. And even there, he still runs some of those things by me just to get my thoughts on some different ones there, because you kind of want something that's something that's represented best representative of the character, and then a background that kind of fits along with it, and that's not too distracting, but kind of gives the essence of the character. So I've been doing that for quite a while, and enjoyed doing that side of things. While Zeke ran off with the stats, and Werner, gets him all set up with the artwork there. And then there's all the piecing together too, so you have all these different pieces there, and it's a matter of, okay, now we got to pull it into a document that could be easily brought into by the printer. So, a lot of times doing edits on that document. Then we get the proof, and then it's, me going through, maybe doing a first round of, all right, do we get everything correct on there? Is there any spacing issues? Is there any, weird formatting or spelling stuff best I could? And then we'd hand that over, usually on the indies or most almost anything. Chad and Corey always would take a good look at that too. They'd be kind of like that last proofers on that, the damage control for a lot of those things.
And when you guys give like work with Warner for art,
Mm-hmm.
now I know a few things because I worked with you guys on when I made Glory.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll show people the original art for her. There we go. I'm just trying to get it. That's, I can call it up right there.
Yeah.
It's just a very simple black and white thing because he's still trying to get everything down. So he doesn't
Yep.
want to go into too much detail. It's almost like a thumbnail.
Yep.
And
Yeah. So
then,
basic sketch first. Yeah. I go sketch, and then you get a little bit more in the ink. So do you have the ink version on there too?
yep. And then the second one come up
Yep.
and it's this. And I was like, I don't like that for two reasons. One, she's an alien from a different planet. And I'm like, she's got the red, white, and blue American tights. Uh, and they got all this like sparkling bubble things floating down. I'm like, I just wanted her to be the straight up black trunks, black knee pads, you
Yep.
know, make the Legends guys all happy.
Yeah. Stu wants him in
Yeah,
the black tights for sure. Yeah.
and that's exactly what I'm thinking of for Stu. I'm like, okay, I said black tights, black knee pads. That's what I want for her, and I didn't want any of that background stuff. I just wanted a very plain background so she can pop. She can be
Yeah.
the main thing. And you guys in Warner, it just took a little bit, but you were able to do it like quickly. Warner's like, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yep. Yeah, Werner's great like that. Yeah, I mean, he's always very busy with different things, but yeah, when you get him in there, he knows exactly what to do. Yeah, he's fantastic. But I think with that, I think with the original one, if I'm not mistaken, I think we were using the one character from the Glow show as a reference. I think that, yeah, where she was kind of like all American.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's where we were kind of using that as like a pose there because we went with the glory thing. I think that's where that was going, and you're like, no, it needs to be much more basic. There, I'm like, okay, that
Yeah,
makes
and I didn't
yeah,
want her because in the first one she's all smiling and happy, and I'm like, she's a bad guy.
yeah.
I want more of a sneer on the face.
Like, oh, okay, we can do
Yeah, and,
that.
and, and it was done. And I know Tom's talked like that before, where he's had some things with different guys where he goes into the art and he's like, I don't like this. I need it like this. I need it like this.
Oh,
And
and Tom will futz with colors forever too. Like, yeah, I remember it was a Death Knight. I think in the Origin series. I remember that one went through a lot of color changes on that one. Yeah, there's a couple instances like that.
luckily it's on computer now and you can just
Yeah,
switch it quickly.
Yeah,
typically.
typically. I mean, coloring is pretty time consuming there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I give Warner a lot of credit. I mean, he's kind of self-taught with all that, and I think that's like, I mean, some of his coloring work has been phenomenal. So yeah, we're really blessed to have him do so many different things for the game.
That's one thing too. Um, Tom told us that things like Larry Snelly would just send him dozens of pictures, and Tom would be like, "I pick, I'll pick two or three," and I'm like, he's probably sitting on 50 Larry Snelly artwork that could be used.
I'm sure, right? So that's what I like too. When I did my first bootleg sets, like I think I did like a 9 character set, work with 3 artists, and I had 3 ideas, and I got those 3 ideas done. But then I was like, give me 2 other pieces of art, and I'll come up with characters for that. So I enjoyed that more than coming up with the idea of the character because like to there I had to me, like it was too open. I needed something much more confined, and I can kind of work with that idea. I think that's maybe why I like working with the FTR because it was like a lot of other people's ideas and how to incorporate them all together. I think I
So you
enjoyed
like the
that from.
structure first?
I like the structure first. Yeah, I'm much more of a
You need the
structure guy.
structure. Well, there's somebody like Broc here, because Broc, he's sending me messages all the time in artwork. He's like, look at this guy. I'm making this guy. I'm making this guy. I'm making this guy. He just got
Yeah.
ideas just popping
Oh,
out of
I
his
know.
head.
I'm the complete opposite of Brock. I'm all like, I can't come up with the ideas, but if I get, they're like, oh, I can get ideas. Like my creativity is how I structure things. That's how I do, like in everything that I do. It's but
I
yeah.
I don't have anybody telling me no, unfortunately.
Yes.
But it is, like I said, people don't realize how much work goes in to making a set. Like there's a lot of stuff, a lot of steps, and then people are like, and then you get the step where this was your part for a long time, and it was getting it to the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get everything there. Yeah, you get everything done, and then it's off to the printer, and then it's like, all right, then yeah, it comes one, shipment of like 5 boxes coming, and I gotta like, go through it all. I mean, and I did my best on a lot of those to get everything out within like 2 days. Like best I could on even some of those big releases. If it was a small one, I'd even do it like within the day. If it was like, like I get it that afternoon, I get everything packaged up that night and out. Now I would do a lot of pre-work beforehand. So like when orders would come in, I'd catalog them. I'd kind of set up the envelopes. Back when I was doing it, I don't know if you had ever seen on the bottom of the envelopes. Sometimes there would be LIC on some of them there,
Hmm.
or just that's because I would note what promoter prime stuff people were getting for that quarter with it. So I'd mark it on the envelope there, and anything that was kind of like outside of the of the new releases, I would kind of catalog on there, and I would pre-stuff the envelopes, or at least have a running list with all the names and all that. And I'd have different piles of envelopes all set to go with different combinations. Like, oh, here's all the ones getting just legends. Here's the ones getting just champions. Here's the one getting legends, Indians, and champions, and all the combinations there. So I get it all preset, ready to go. So that when the shipment came to my house, I just went through. It would collate and rubber band it. Sometimes I would employ my children to do some of that collating for me. They were happy to be doing that. It was much easier, I will say, with um, going through Mike as the printer, because they would pre-collate it. Going through the old printer that Tom had up in Jamestown, they would just give us stacks of cards, and we'd have to go through and collate all the sets
Hmm.
first before sending it out. So that would actually take a little bit longer on that one, because you'd have to collate all the sets and then put together all the orders. But once Mike had it, it was a little bit quicker and easier then. So
Yeah. I just wanted people to understand because, a set will come out and people are like, I ordered it a week ago and I still haven't got it. I'm like, you don't realize how much work goes behind it. And it's just one guy. Like right now, it's just Mike doing it.
yeah,
You have your full-time job, you have your family,
yeah,
and, you have to get, so many sets out there. And then some people were complaining because I guess Mike forgot to put in support. So some people's cards got damaged.
yes,
And people were, upset about that. And I'm like, he probably, he could have forgot on a couple different people because some people had it, some people didn't. I'm
yeah,
like, there's a lot of work that goes behind this. People got to realize that, if one guy forgets just one little thing, he's not doing, they're not doing it on purpose.
right,
It's
right.
just a lot of work.
It's
And
a lot. Yeah,
people don't realize how much work it is. And they have to, if something happens, if you get a card and it, the whole set's completely damaged, Mike would probably help you out and take care of that.
sure,
But
sure.
if it's just a ding corner, and it's an accident, you can ding your corner at home dropping your card. And I've got
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it upsets some people, but
Yeah.
are
I
you
will
really
say,
going
like,
to resell?
right, right, exactly. Yeah. And I will say, like, yeah, I mean, once the pandemic hit there, like, you know, number of sales went up a lot because everybody's like back at home and looking for more things to do and rediscover champions. And
Hmm.
it got it got really busy there. And whereas the vast majority of people in my job were furloughed, I was not. So I was still working most of the days of the week, and like had all these extra things there, plus my kids at home at school. So it was kind of a crazy time during that, but I still got out and it did I mean at least two shipments a week. I was still going to the post office there, and dropping off stuff at that point. It was because I mean things were goes good. And part of that was like, well, everyone's at home, they want stuff to do. I mean, that's I'm trying to help out, keep people entertained. So I always kind of had that going, and knowing that I was a customer, and how I appreciated things coming out fast. So I always made sure that I did that. But it got to be a lot. Like then that's kind of the reason I kind of handed things over. Too many other things going on right now. Taking care of my parents, having my kids, and daughter about to go off to college and stuff too. I've taken over with the, scoutmaster and stuff like that. There's just like too many other things there, and a job that got more busy. It's like some things had to give, and unfortunately, I was for a little while champions, but as I said, I handed it over once before and it came back to me. It could very well come back to me again. I wouldn't be surprised.
We have a petition to bring back Todd now.
I think you get a lot of signatures. My wife will not sign that, though. I will tell you that much.
Well, we would try. No,
And,
no, things are going. It was a smooth transition, I think.
yeah, I think overall for the most part, and I still held out with Galacticon. I'll still be around there for that. I know there's no fall con this fall, but like I've already kind of brought up stuff about the perennial, virtual con, January, February timeframe or something like that. So hopefully we can get that still going and whatnot. So I'm, happy to help out in some ways there, do my part in the community for that.
Awesome.
And it is appreciated.
Definitely.
Yeah. I enjoy doing that. I like to event planning and stuff like that. So yeah, I think not many people do. So like
I I just finished running. I run a Halloween party for kids in the neighborhood. I do charity work for the Optimist Club, and I usually get between 200 and 300 kids. I have to make a party for,
that's great.
and you get entertainment and events, and so yeah, that's why when it comes to something like Galacticon, yeah, I, and I've always wanted to help out. Yeah, you got to make sure this is in order because I've been doing this for 20 years. If I can organize hundreds of kids, I can organize 24 adults.
Right, exactly. I just got to order more pizza next year. I know that much. So
But we should probably wrap this up here.
All right. Well, thank you, Todd. Always a pleasure to sit down and talk with you, get some insight into
absolutely.
behind the scenes stuff, past, present, and future.
See what the
Um,
future holds.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out for our holiday, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, or watching, and however you consume our product. While you're here, if you haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Scroll on down to the description where you'll see all of our friends make Filsinger Games related content, including the official Filsinger Games podcast, Roll Up, the Legends team's Uncharted Territory, Dizzy Dice from Lee Longpree, Solo Promoter from Grant Pachoco. Grant is also here on YouTube, along with Heartland Championship Wrestling from Dave Little. After further review, Brad Plays 81 and Bucky749, all doing Champions of the Galaxy related content. I'm on Twitch every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 p.m. playing live my bootleg fed if you want to check that out. And yeah, until next time, everybody, have a great week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Later.